Hello, time for another vid. I just got a response from Ben Rankins and on my Throb video, so I watched it and oh my god, I made so many cock-ups in that video. It wasn't Aaron Neville that wrote Fortune Teller, it was Alan Toussaint. I said that John Bell was briefly the singer in The Creatures. No, not The Creatures. I was thinking of The Missing Links, but that could be wrong too. So don't take this old man's word for the truth, the absolute truth. I just work off what's left in my memory. So, yes, go. Oh, cripes. Okay, here we go. I'll have to make this one fairly quick. Now, this one is quite interesting to me. It's on Teen Records. It's a dreadful song. Got a Zach in the back of me pocket. It was a big hit in Australia. It's a Kiwi, Johnny Devlin. He sort of was New Zealand's Elvis Presley, and guess what? The B-side is Such a Night, He's a third-rate performer. Actually, I looked him up a couple of years ago, and he was still performing on cruises around the South Pacific in his 80s. God, I'd love to see that. I keep forgetting to put the proper paper sleeve for this. I actually found the paper sleeve for this Teen Records label, and it's somewhere here, and I've got to get them together. That's my fun in life, is finding things and putting them all back together again. And as far as I know, Teen Records, manufactured and distributed by Festival Records, of course, was basically his own label. So now, some more goes here. This is a really good single. Now, Bobby and Laurie were huge in Australia. They, briefly, like most of those bands in Australia in the 60s, they were really, really huge from 1964 to 65, about a year. And they had, quite, maybe 3 or 4 big hits. But they were all covers and mainly a sort of more obscure Yank tracks, but they were bloody good. Judy Green. Alan Bright, it's actually written by Bobby Bright. Laurie Allen and Bobby Bright. Alan Bright. So this is Judy Green is, I think, the one song that the two guys wrote together. It wasn't a hit, but we actually heard it on the radio at the time. We all thought it was pretty cool. So that's actually one they wrote themselves. So a few more goes here. I do have others spread all over the house. So we got Now You Are Gone, the B-side's Bobby Bright. Someone Ain't Right, Bobby and Laurie. Someone, that was a huge hit. I Belong With You, this is my favourite. This is their first big hit. This is their first single, I think, and it was a big hit. Written by Laurie Allen. Well, I'm amazed. Isn't it funny? I thought all their hits were covers, but this is their first and biggest hit, I Belong With You, Bobby and Laurie, and it's written by the boys themselves. It's a stomper, big stomping guitar. Their backing band were really excellent, great live backing band. They were huge, like the Throb, like MPD Limited. They were just massive. There was something about that 65, 66 era in Australia, in Sydney and Melbourne, and Brisbane and Adelaide, and to a lesser degree Perth, where these bands just come up and they come from nowhere. Not that they really have. They've all been in thousands of bands before this, but they come as product to a teenage brain and you don't know they've been in other bands. You just go, oh wow, isn't this great? And then by the time their third singles come, if they're lucky, they've gone and forgotten. This is I showed that EP the other day. This is the actual Lonely Boy by MPD Limited. This one's I scored this somewhere in a junk shop. It's mint minus. Lonely Boy, the second of their two hit songs. That's the Paul Anka track, yeah. It's not a stomper, it's a bit of a pop, sort of light pop. The Wild Side of Life is the B-side. Little rascal doesn't want to go back in its bloody bag. You rotten little mongrel. Bloody Victorians. More damn Victorians coming up. Curse them. Curse them to hell, I say. Alright. So this is I do have a couple more ins in the other room. I always forget to go and get them. They usually just double ups or triple ups. So we have here a copy of Hush. I love this label, In. It's beautiful. Baby Blue, It's All Over Now. It's all over. Instead of calling it its proper title, this is the B-side. Instead of calling It's All Over Now Baby Blue, they've got Baby Blue with It's All Over Now in brackets, which is sort of interesting. Dylan. Somebody's Image. Big hit with this. Hush. It's Somebody's Image, and it's Russell Morris's first band, and it was a hit. I'll do that later. And another version. That one's pretty scratched. Surface scratches. This one has lots of surface scratches as well, but it's shinier and better. So that's another copy. This is back in the day when you can actually find these things. In charity stores, junk shops, garage sales, church fates. That's when it was exciting. That's when it was fun. That's when things like this was so sought after, in the 80s in particular, and their values just went through the roof. So all the rest of the next bunch, they're all a great, great band from Melbourne with an English guy, or Jerry Humphries. That's Welsh, Humphries, but a Brit came out here and formed a band. They were originally called the Red Onions Jazz Band. There's the guy on organ in this band's an American, and I think the rest are Aussie. So 5-piece group from memory. This just knocked our socks off, and it's an absolute classic. Top 5 greatest Aussie punky, whatever you want to call it. I'm not in the categories. The Loved One by the Loved Ones. On the beautiful In label, which is WNG Records from Melbourne. And Melbourne, Klein, Humphries and Lovett. Was Lovett the American? No, I'm not sure. The B-side is This Is Love, and that's Ian Klein. That's by one of the guys in the band. It's dreadful. This is so cool, and when we flipped it over and went, oh, look. Every one of these singles I'm going to show, except one, has the word love in it. So they were sort of, The Loved One by the Loved Ones. This Is Love, the Loved Ones. It's corny crap. It's a truly awful B-side. Then their next single, which is my all-time favourite by them, this is a monster track. Ever Loving Man. Oh my God, that's great. It's so good. This is excellent condition. Another, which this is actually written by the band. It's excellent. What can I say? So, and then the B-side, More Than Love. Not from memory, I think it's another throwaway track. But once again, the word love, see? So the first two singles, the songs had the word love in it. I'm sure it was intentional. It had to be. Then here's another copy of the Love one. I've got this one in a heavy-duty cardboard sleeve, so maybe this one's in really good nick. Oh, yes. Oh, God, yes. This is a Mint Minus. Holy shit. I've never played it. I can't remember when I found this, but it's Mint Minus. Beautiful condition. Look at that. No spindle marks at all. That's why I've got it in a super strong protective sleeve here. These are sort of ex-radio station covers. I wish I had hundreds of them. They're brilliant. They're actually poly-lined and strong, durable. Maybe this was a complete unit from a radio station that ended up in a church plate or something. And to finish up with the in and the go today, I love this. This is an old Russian folk song. I don't know what it's called, but they adapted it. It's called Sad Dark Eyes here. It's a beautiful melody, very dark, moody, melancholic. They've claimed it as an Australian composition, like the Throb claimed Black as it. It's an old English folk song from the 15th, 16th century. This Sad Dark Eyes is taken from an old Russian folk song from a similar time, but they've actually claimed this as their own. Very naughty. Richards, Humphreys, Lovett, Anderson, Lynch, Australian composition. Well, I guess I suppose you could say it is really. And guess what, everybody, on the B side? The Woman I Love. There it goes again. Now, I'm sure it's awful because I know I've never flipped over and played the B-sides except for the first time, and then they didn't have good B-sides, unlike some other great Aussie bands. So the only out of their first three singles, I think they only had three. You could be wrong, it could have been one more. The only one that didn't have the word love in it was Sad Dark Eyes. So 12:43. Okay, see you later.